Chapter 8: Hypothesis and Hypothesis Testing. Introduction. In psychology, research resonators are often guided by hypotheses which must be derived from literature initially reviewed. This is to ensure that the result analysis and discussion drains or builds up previous research. It is easier to discuss the result of your study by making reference to the relevant literature. Hypothesis assist the researcher to give meaning or relevance to research efforts. Objective. At the end of this lecture, students will be able to understand what hypotheses are, the different types of hypotheses, and their importance in research endeavors. Content. Usala 1987 defines hypothesis as a conditional statement of the expected relationship between two or more variables. An hypothesis is a proposition of testable relationship. This relationship can only be confirmed after the result has been analyzed and found to be statistically significant. Hypothesis must be derived from or complement the stated problem of the study. Remember that a study problem is a statement of interrogation that asks questions about the possibility of a relationship between two or more variables. It could also be an intuitive statement of possible existence of a phenomenon. Example, would recall ability be a time aeon of age? Or would there be a change in behavior as a result of exposure of a nauseating stimulus? There are basically two types of hypotheses depending on the form and level of abstraction inherent in them. These are null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis. This is a statistical hypothesis that appears to hesitate to indicate the effect of the treatment on the observed outcome and so plays safe by giving no direction. If, for instance, the null hypothesis is rejected, then we have confidence in the effect of the treatment. Null hypotheses are often represented with H0, e.g., there is no relationship between the performance level of boys and girls in mathematical training. The alternative hypothesis. This is an hypothesis that shows conviction and also shows degree and director of the relationship among two or more variables as dictated by the interest of the researcher. It is often represented with HI. Examples of alternative hypotheses are older boys will significantly perform higher than younger boys when exposed to mathematical training. Females will significantly perform better than males in a finger-definite test. These hypotheses are also referred to as directional hypotheses. It also makes for easy interpretation and linkages among variables. In some instances, alternative hypotheses may also be non-directional in the sense that they do not indicate if group A or B will score higher on the dependent variable. Rather, the hypothesis only states that a difference between the two groups is expected. Example, sex will significantly influence performance in a mathematical training. Hypothesis testing. Fagbungbi 1996 noted that data analysis is the bedrock of any scientific inquiry. It is a way of testing a hypothesis or proposition of the research. Data analysis begins with the basic or elementary statistics such as mean, median, mode, centile, standard deviation, variance, and percentages of the observed measures of the phenomenon can be described. To test if this is or are differences among groups of interest, we have to make a choice of statistical test that is most appropriate for the hypothesis stated. There are two basic types of tests. These are parametric and non-parametric tests. What informs the type of test to adopt is the nature of data collected, which could be nominal, ordinal, interval, or ration. The use of a parametric test is based on the assumption that the groups are randomly selected from the target population. The data to be analyzed are measured on interval or ratio scales and the population are normally distributed. Examples of parametric tests include t-test, ANOVA, present moment correlation, and regression analysis, while non-parametric tests are tests that are used when the population are not normally distributed. The type of measurement are nominal or ordinal scales, and the sample size is small. Examples of such tests include chi-square, Wilcoxon, Mann-Whitney-U, Spearman rank, or their correlation, and Kruskal-Wallis test. A parametric test is more superior to a non-parametric test since it is used on a relatively large sample. It has a high probability of helping to reject a false will hypothesis and confirm the alternative hypothesis. Summary: hypothesis is a connectional statement of the expected relationship between two or more variables. There are two types of hypotheses. They are null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Null hypotheses are hypotheses that appear to hesitate to indicate the effect of the treatment on the observed outcome. Null hypotheses are often represented with H0, while alternative hypothesis shows the degree and director of the relationship among two or more variables as dictated by the interest of the researcher. It is often represented with HI. Hypotheses can be tested using two basic types of tests. These are parametric and non-parametric tests. What informs the type of test to adopt is the nature of data collected, which could be nominal, ordinal, interval, or Bayesian. The use of a parametric test is based on the assumption that the groups are randomly selected from the target population. The data to be analyzed are measured on interval or ratio scales, and the population are normally distributed. This is the end of Chapter 8. Thanks for listening.